Right, so just taking a moment to feel your breath in your belly and the diaphragm. You might want to place your hands down there on your stomach. Before we begin to move, clocking in, asking yourself some observational questions. How was my sleep? What was my last workout like? Where do I expect to be tight? And do I expect to be tight? Making allowances for those areas, so we're not too hard on ourselves. And just being willing as well to have no preconceptions about how your movement might be and just go with it. All right, so joining me for a standing position now. I'm going to bind my hands together, press forwards to arc the back, and then bring the hands back and open the chest. So push through and open the spine. Hands behind and lengthen up, tall posture. I'm just going to keep moving through like that push and pull. When I lift my heart and open through my chest, I'm squeezing my glutes to protect my back as it comes into that extended position. So when your back's extending, it's the chest that opens through. When you're flexing, it's actually like you're puffing it up. Once more through each movement. I did some bench press yesterday and I can feel my chest is quite tight. That's the one. Good, lovely. Now I'm going to come forward facing for this next one. I'm going to take one leg behind. So I'm going to go left leg behind and I'm going to go left arm up and reach. And then come back and change sides. So tuck behind, anchor that back ankle by, oh, that's a good one. You can tell because I stopped talking. Placing the outside edge of the foot onto the floor, anchoring it there, straighten that back leg, reaching and coming back. So you should get a nice side bend for the obliques. You might feel it in the exterior hip as well. Muscles that stabilize us when we are walking, running, good, jumping. They really play a big role in helping support your knee. We're going to do 2 more on each side here. Breathing up and over. Maybe it's the shoulder and the top where you feel that. And 1 more on each side. Tuck behind and reach. Come back. Tuck behind and reach. Come back, perfect. Now going for a full body roll downs and roll ups. I'm going to make it yoga-esque on my rise by opening and lengthening and reaching up through the hands, pushing out through the fingertips. As I begin the movement, I'm trying to think about the individual vertebrae, like a snake. Yes, we should have as much command as possible over these little areas in the back. That's what they're there for. We're designed to bend this way. So as you rise up, rising with the arms, rolling, peeling your body up. Top, push out your feet, lengthen the stomach. And we're going to roll down again. We're going to do 4 of these in total. So imagine you're being drawn inwards, bringing rib cage to thighs. And then as we roll up again, lightly peeling, tucking and tucking and tucking in. Up to the top. Good, rolling down again. This is 3. So these take quite a long time, right? You want them to take long. And then notice the areas that you don't have control over or as much over. Notice at the low back where you think, oh, actually, I can't isolate
the vertebrae here, or is it the mid-back? Is it maybe upper or the neck?
And the more control you have over these spaces, it's probably going to take even longer because you're hyper aware of everything there. You're feeling it out. And that does take time. Just like when you're doing your strength training. I say when, not if, by the way. Notice that. If you've got more control, you're able to go slower and you want to so you can feel things. Pushing out. How good does that feel? Amazing, right? Yeah. Okay. Elbows behind. We're going to pull them in together. Open. Reach out and back in. And drawing elbows together. So now we're just focusing on flexing and extending in the upper. This is the last kind of upper spine focus work we're going to do in standing. Then we're going to take to the hips. Out, in and tucking. Out, to the sides, in and drawing in. 1, 2, lovely. I'm aiming to extend my arms at the same height as my shoulders. One more time. And releasing there, perfect. So coming onto the hips now, one of my favorites is this wide stance sumo squat. We're going to go for our shoulder drops within it. So taking toes out just a tad, bend deeply, bring the hands to knees, push the knees apart, really feel that weight and drive. It's almost like your arms want to straighten out. So really actively pushing and then dropping a shoulder, looking over the other, dropping into the other. I just got a big click in my back there. We are still going to get some of that welcome spine mobility. If you can keep on focusing for today on pushing that knee out to the side, find your pelvis, tailbone should be tucked. So taking elements of yoga today and practices such as animal flow, which emphasize that kind of playful movement awareness. Very nice. One more on each side. Take your time. Notice when you've got a tendency to rush. That's what you want to avoid. Now I'm going to turn on to one leg. I'm going to aim to bring my hands down towards the floor. If this is a stretch for you, you might want to start on the floor and then work up from there. I'm going to reach down to the ground. And really simple, just go for it. Come back down and back. So nice and simple. Lauren, you find this harder on the knee, get more of a stretch. Guys, you might find that you're getting more of a stretch down the knee. Okay. We're going to add this into a bit of a sequence shortly. So just warming through the movement here on its own, you should feel hip flexors. Hip flexors are a group of muscles included in that. Rising back up to the front. Let's go for a nice forward fold in the center. Deep knee bend, hands to the middle. And then if that deep knee bend, you're not getting so much of a stretch, you can begin to straighten up the legs from there. Our open twist from here. We're going to alternate sides. Reach back to center. Push the floor away with that bottom hand. Really pinching fingertips into the floor, scrunching them up to help you push open, lengthen through the chest and the bottom shoulder. Be aware of which direction it opens in. Is that bottom shoulder drawn back? Where's the crease of the elbow? You kind of want it in front of you. Good. One more on each side here. And then we're going to turn and we're going to do that same stretch, that same twist from the other hip. Proud. Right. Notice what you're feeling here. You hear any sensations, don't judge yourself. Or I know, easier said than done. So 2 more. And one more time. I'm going to go through the video a bit later on. Coming up from here. Now we're going to add and work into that movement a bit more now by adding in a Cossack and then going for that open twist. So I'm going to bend into one knee and reach towards the floor. And then I'm going to turn on the leg so I'm in that same twist to the side. We did this a couple of weeks ago. You might remember. If you weren't here, it's all good. I'm going to teach you anyway. So Cossack, lifting up the toes, bending onto one side. It's really going to stretch the adductors, but also hamstrings. It's quite intense there. So reaching on down into that bent leg. Good. If the heel lifts, it's not a problem. Then I'm going to turn. Again, toes left. Now from here, you can wander your way across, hand support or none, or you can rise up and come down the other way. Good, again, turning onto that leg. Toes up. Good, either swinging across. Yeah, very nice, Vicky, love it. Quad tightness that does that. Something to think about if you're doing a lot of lower body focused strength training, squats and lunges, walking, hiking a lot or running a lot. Something to think about is that tightness in the hip. Lovely. So hamstrings getting a good stretch here as well. For that. So slightly less dynamic than what we're doing now. Do my mobility. I'm just gonna focus on the feel. Obviously, I want to do enough, but number of it, you know? Like you can make all the money in the world and still hate your job, right? So it's more about the time you spend there than the number. So coming up to stand now. Oh, that feels good, spicy, but good. Hopefully relaxing enough that you forgot how hard work it was. We're gonna come on down to the floor now for a seated position. I'm just gonna adjust my camera. Y'all can see me, but let me know if you can't hear me too well and I'll make adjustments because I know the volume sometimes on my laptop is a bit crap. So star position, feet together, knees wide. I'm going to grab hold of my ankles. If you know you have tight hips and already in this position, you're wanting to round your back, aim to lengthen up slightly. Breathe through the chest. Good, you might want to bring a pillow under your hips. That's another suggestion of mine, or a yoga block, and that can be really good as well. From here, I'm going to reach over to one corner. So kind of midway between the ankle and the knee. I'm going to take a couple of breaths here. And relaxing, exhaling. So there's more static style openers for the hips. Let's wander across to the other side. Notice if that's in the low back as well. Sometimes tight hips can create tension in the low back, but we think it's just the low back itself. It's all connected. There's never one cause. Coming up, and we're going to do that again, repeating on the same sides. So top posture, relax, letting go of expectation as we move into the second round. Sometimes that's the best thing you can do, is revisit a movement a couple of times. It takes more than once of trying something, right, to know how things are feeling and to really get somewhere with it as well. So let's move through center, change sides. Let your head come down if you're not used to this type of relaxation, let's call it, or this type of chill. You might be finding that difficult in itself. You might be the person then who is more focused on squeezing your knees to the ground, or where you can get to walking the hands further forward. There's always a way to enjoy it in your unique way of moving, being. Good, coming on up. Now I'm gonna hug one knee in really close to my chest. I'm gonna grab it and squeeze it in with the intention not necessarily to twist, although it looks like I'm twisting, but rather to almost lift the hip up off the ground. Again, those of you who are doing a lot of lower work, you will get quite a lot of tension build up in the glutes. Sit up nice and tall. One of my favorite facts of life is that, we've evolved as humans because we have such huge glutes. They've given us the ability to run and chase things, to be prey, to avoid prey, and to be the predator. So I think that's really, really cool, and we should give our glutes lots of love for everything they've done for us since the beginning of time. Thank you. So that's why we want to always be working on building strong and athletic glutes. Not just for the aesthetic, that's a nice byproduct though. Let's change this. But it's no wonder that we're all fascinated by strong looking glutes, because as I say, they've stood the course of history and the test of time. So giving some energy back to them, squeeze that knee in. Try to find it if you're not feeling it. Instead of just going, no, I'm not getting the stretch. Try and find it. Maybe take a light twist to the side and focus on drawing that knee more across to the other side of your chest, almost lifting it out of the ground, feeling it press into your body. You might get hip flexor stretch as well at the front. You might be finding that's a light pinch there. Good, I'm releasing down. Okay, a wee bit more into the hips. We're going to go with our 90-90 fold this time. So again, a little bit more on the static side, a bit more flexibility work. We did some last week as well, just in light of it being quite a hectic time. It's one of my preferences when I'm busy, is to go, actually, I'm going to stop moving. I'm going to sit into this position and force myself to relax. And it can be really, really helpful. So let's go for it. Folding over that front shin. Maybe framing the leg with the hands. Don't necessarily, you're not obligated to come all the way down, but you can. Acting on behalf of your body. So is it a day where actually pouring over is going to feel good? Do I want to assess where I am in my range? Or am I just going to be quite upright, quite gentle? Where you are in your cycle might be part of that decision making, as well as part of what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, so how tight you are or aren't. Quite common if you're approaching menstruation to feel tight in the hips. One more breath here. And pins and needles that I'm getting now, it's usually a sign of, yes, we are tight. We need to do some more of these later. Pinching on the inside of the hips could be groin tightness, so your adductors, that area there. Front leg. Just to pour over, you might want to take a few moments first. See where your exhale can carry you. If you are today, let it be. Excellent, and one more breath. Rising up, we're just going to lightly relieve that internal external rotation, can be quite hard work as well. A lot to think about, so just roll side to side. Very nice. All right, so last bit of mobility here, or flexibility, I should say in this case. Let's think about these hamstrings for a moment. I'm gonna make a space between my legs. Again, you can sit on a pillow if you're tight in your hips and in the hamstrings as well. I'm gonna let my knees fall apart, let my toes fall apart, and then I'm gonna work my way down the outside of the legs. You might just have them on the outside of the thighs. What I want you to focus on is bringing your stomach up and over, like you've got a big inflatable ball here. A lot of people, they focus on the head to toes. I like to focus on nipples over knees. I mean, you know, yeah, use your imagination for that one. So then up and over, or just down. Depends on how many sports bras you're wearing. Okay. So letting the head fall. Slide the heels out. Just gradually, again, not forcing anything, not expecting anything, just gradually getting more length with exhales. Maybe turning the toes out to the side more, maybe dropping them to the center, just playing with actually what's going to give us a really good stretch. If you start to shake, you're probably a bit too deep into the stretch. So pull back from there if you're shaking. Let your feet gradually slide away, let it be a very gradual opening. It's not like jumping into cold water. You know, we don't need to dive in and try to acclimatize. It's not going to fly with the body in this particular circumstance. So instead of diving into your deepest range and expecting to let the body settle into it, you want to ease yourself into it. You want to dip a toe, take a breath. All the toes in, and take a breath. Thinking, just up to the ankle, letting your body know it's safe. Good, and coming up from here. I'm gonna end standing, guys, but you can finish off with taking those breaths that we like to conclude on. Seated, lying down on your back with your palms up, like, oh, come at me Wednesday. I'm feeling so chill. I'm gonna do that on my toes. Just standing strong for the day. So welcoming it in with an active you, moment for you. Just 2 minutes. If this is the part of the class that you usually think, oh, I don't need that, or I can't do that, you know, it's maybe a good reason why we should be doing it. So just acknowledge that if you're finding it a bit tricky today. But also don't judge yourself for that. If you like to fidget or move lightly if that is you. Get it easier on yourself. Excellent. Just another minute here. This class will be recorded for you, so if you've enjoyed it this morning, you can repeat. I would definitely suggest inviting your friends along to join us online for mobility or strength for runners or circuits possibly. I'm going to get you to take a big breath. Bring your arms up overhead and just push out through the palms. Long tummy, think about the length in the front of your body. Oh, something to smile about. Think about what it is, something you're looking forward to in this day. Maybe it's just your coffee or that feeling when you sit and you just take a breath. Maybe it's your workout. I'm looking forward to mine today. Can't wait. Got some pull-ups to do, some other fun. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing your time with me this morning. Have an awesome day, guys, and I will see some of you on Saturday. Bye.